The assassin.
You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest. You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest.
What up, y'all? You're listening to Sports Talk with Tropp, and I'm your host, Katie Tropp. Well, Monday Night Football was kind of a snooze fest, at least in my opinion. But and that's kind of how it was last week as well. So far, the double headers on Monday Night Football have not really panned out. I mean, they've been pretty decent games, but some of them have just been pretty bad, pretty slow, I guess. Not a lot of offense, which is very shocking. But let's get right into the first game. We had Philadelphia Eagles at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Eagles did what the Eagles do, and they kicked the crap out of Tampa Bay. Final score ended up being 25-11, but for the most part, Tampa was extremely ineffective on the offensive side of the ball. The Eagles defense is continuing to do what they've done so far the first couple of weeks of the season, and they had two forced fumbles, an interception, and 2 sacks on the night against Baker Mayfield, and it was just a massacre. And then DeAndre Swift, guy is fitting right in with the Eagles, and by the way, the Eagles are still the leading rushing team in the league. That's what they did last year, and they continued to do it this year, and they got even better by trading for DeAndre Swift, who has had yet another great game. He had 130 yards, and then A.J. Brown had a breakout game for the season. He had 131 yards, and then Jalen Hurts had a pretty solid game, 23 for 37, 277 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 2 interceptions, which I will say that wasn't really an issue for him last year. He actually, I can't recall. I think he only had like 4 interceptions last year. He had very few last year. That was actually something I felt like was a major reason why he was doing so well last year, is because he really he limited his turnovers. And so far this season, he's already got, I think, 4. He might even be at 5, but I know he's already had an interception basically in every game so far. So that's been an issue, but other than that, the Eagles still look pretty damn good, and the Buccaneers came crashing back down to earth as we kind of expected them to do. And then in the second game, it was the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Los Angeles Rams, and the Bengals just eked it out. They've got the win 19-16. Their defense also really, Matthew Stafford, he was just on his back all night. The Cincinnati Bengals defense had 6 sacks and 2 interceptions against him, and he just really could not get his feet set. He really could not find any of his guys out in the open field. It was just a really, really bad game for Stafford. Not because of him, but just because that offensive line couldn't block anything, and he was on his back all night, so he didn't really have much of a chance, and their ground attack wasn't able to get going, and just overall, it was an extremely ineffective night for the Los Angeles Rams, and we didn't know what we were going to get from Jesus Christ. Joe Burrow. I literally just brain farted on his name. Jesus Christ. Joe Burrow. We didn't know if he was even going to play on Monday, but he did end up playing, but we didn't know how effective he was going to be. Turned out he was able to do just enough. You could tell it's still bothering him a bit, but I mean, it's like I said, it's probably going to be something that bothers him for the majority of the season, if not the rest of the season. So it kind of seems like it's something he's going to have to deal with, and he dealt with it pretty fine. You know, their offense wasn't electric, as we've known the Bengals offense to be, but they got the job done. Jamar Chase had his breakout game of the season with 141 yards. Joe Mixon had probably the big touchdown for them, but it was overall this Bengals defense really stepped it up, and I feel like they are the reason why they got this win. But like I said, Burrow came in, did his job, and we'll see how that calf affects him for the rest of the season. But he definitely was able to at least put it together for that game. All right, now moving on to the Trop 10 NFL Power Rankings for this week. We do have a lot of shakeups because some teams came crashing down to earth, and then some teams just keep kicking ass. And we do have a new number one because, of course, there's no way I could keep my Dallas Cowboys at number one after the shit show they had last week. So they're still in the Trop 10. Don't worry about it, y'all. But I stay realistic. Even though I ride for my team, I will stay realistic with them. And losing to the Cardinals, you've fallen. You are fallen in my Trop 10. So, but number one is different. And I didn't really think I was ever going to put them at number one. I still don't know how sold on them I am. They're extremely impressive right now, but I can't look at them and go, yeah, that team's going to win the Super Bowl, even though they're playing excellent football right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So I had to put the Miami Dolphins at number one this week. When you drop 70 points on a team, and it was undisputed too, it wasn't even like a close game. It was like an ass kicking from the jump, and they dropped 70 points. That's just insane. So I knew when I saw, even before the Cowboys lost, I said to myself, oh shit, man, I can't overlook what the Dolphins did this week, and they are number one. I already knew I was putting Dolphins number one. 70 points is just insane, and their offense is really on fire. I mean, yes, they Bill Belichick, of course, held them down, but they still got the win. They didn't have that type of explosion against the Patriots, but still, we know what they're capable of. And they've already put up a shit ton of numbers where you just look at it and you go, you can't deny any of this. So not only are they 3-0, undefeated, they dropped 70 points and are just killing everybody. Tua is having a fantastic season so far. He's already over 1,000 yards on the season passing. He's got 1,024 yards on the season passing, plus 8 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. So he's kept the interceptions at a minimum so far. Then you have Raheem Mostert. That dude he's just good everywhere he goes. And this season he's got 240 yards and 6 touchdowns on the season. And then you have Tyreek Hill, who's got 412 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season. So their big three are really getting it done. But even their backups were getting it done last week. So offensively, they just look excellent. Defensively, you still have questions just because we really haven't seen what they can do, mostly because the offense has looked so great. But I mean, like I said, you drop 70 points, you're undefeated still, and you're just playing at this high level offensively. It's going to be really difficult to stop that. Now, I'm sure at some point they will have a bad game, but so far the Dolphins, in my opinion, look like the best team in the NFL. Then at number 2 on my Trop 10 NFL power rankings of the San Francisco 49ers, overall record of 3-0 right now, and they just look like one of the best teams in the league. I mean, they have so much talent, and then you've got McCaffrey, who's just been solid and a standout in every game so far. He's got 353 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season, but you also got Hufanga. Coolest name in the NFL right there. Hufanga and Odigizua of the Dallas Cowboys. Those are my 2 favorite names to scream out every freaking Sunday. Instead of saying a swear word, you just say Hufanga or you got Odigizua, and it's fun. I love both of their names. But Hufanga, not only does he have an excellent name, but the dude is an excellent defender. He's already got 2 interceptions on the season. If you throw the ball in his direction, there's a good shot that he's getting it. So you don't want to throw a bad pass anywhere near him because he's money. And overall, the 49ers defense has been solid. They've got 5 interceptions on the season and 8 sacks so far. So they're looking really good. And then offensively, they're just looking very efficient and very typical San Francisco 49ers so far. Then at number 3 on my Trop 10 NFL power rankings at the Philadelphia Eagles, overall record of 3-0. And, I already mentioned DeAndre Swift. He's had a great season with them so far. He's got 308 yards and a touchdown on the season. But their defense is what it's all about. This defense has had every quarterback they've faced running for their lives, and they've caused some turnovers. They've got 8 forced fumbles on the season, and they're just making life hell for every offense so far, and they are just looking really, really good. They're really fast, and that was something I was questioning before the season. I didn't know what the Eagles' defense was going to look like. I thought they were kind of old, but they're proving me wrong so far, looking pretty damn good. Then at number 4 on my top 10 NFL power rankings of the Kansas City Chiefs, overall record of 2-1. And it's all about Patrick Mahomes. The dude is coming off of an MVP season, off of winning the Super Bowl, and here he is with 803 yards passing, with 7 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions on the season, and he's taking the team on his shoulders yet again. I will say, though, this is probably the best defense he's had in his entire career with the Kansas City Chiefs. So, the defense, when I say it's better and more improved and the best one that he's had, they're not really causing a lot of turnovers. They're not really up there in the sacks, but they're definitely making it so teams either have to settle for 3 points, or it's a turnover on downs, or it's a 3 and out. Like, the defense is really holding it down, and I kind of feel like they're just going to get better as the season rolls on. And while their offense started out weak in the first 2 weeks, this past week they really opened it up. I mean, facing the Chicago Bears, that's a great way to get back on track offensively, and the Chiefs have done that so far. Then at number 5 on my top 10 NFL power rankings, my Dallas Cowboys, overall record of 2-1. Of course, they had to fall because, like I said, that loss to the Cardinals was not only just a loss, but it was a pathetic loss. But I think they could get the issues fixed and hopefully play at the level that we expect them to play at, or I expect them to play at. But last week was just pathetic. But beyond the patheticness, the defense is still looking really good. They did get trucked last week, but I really don't think they expected to have the Cardinals take it to them like that. I really think they overlooked the Cardinals. It was what you would call a classic, or what Bill Parcells would call a classic trap game. It's kind of how I feel that was for the Cowboys last week. But nonetheless, Micah Parsons is still having an amazing season so far. He's got 12 tackles, 4 sacks, and a forced fumble. And he even you can't really quantify some of the other statistics that he really is in on, because he's actually been the reason why an interception is thrown, and it's because he's chasing them. He's pretty much in on every single play that he's in on the field. So, I mean, I just love what I see from Micah Parsons. Defense overall has 12 sacks, 5 interceptions, and 4 forced fumbles. So they're really getting the job done. They just had a really bad week. And hopefully they take a look at the film and just erase that shit and get right back on track. But then turning to the offensive side of the ball, CD Lamb has been extremely impressive for me. I've always been impressed with him. I've always thought he was a good receiver. And I did actually say before the season that I kind of expected him to, elevate his game. He's a number 1 guy, but he's never really, he's made big plays, but he's never, really taken over a game. And so far he's really done that. I mean, he's performed at a high level in every game. He's been reliable. He's made some excellent catches already. So he's, from what I've seen from him so far, like you see him, you throw the ball to him in the flat, and there's already been a couple times this season where the defender should have easily had him for a loss of yards, and he just swoops around him and cuts in, and then just takes off and in a couple cases he's got the first down with 10 yards. So he's looking really good in all areas of the game. And also what I love about him, too, is he will cross over the middle and he will give no fucks, too. He has taken some big hits. That's kind of one thing that I hope does not happen with CD, is that I really hope he doesn't get injured, because he does take some big hits. But I don't think he really cares. I think he just wants to play the game. He wants to win. You could tell he was really frustrated last week. So hopefully they get back on track, but I really like what I'm seeing from CD Lamb so far this season. Then at number 6 on my top 10 NFL power rankings at the Buffalo Bills, overall record of 2-1. Their defense is looking really stacked too. They have 12 sacks on the season, 7 interceptions, and 3 forced fumbles. And then, of course, Josh Allen, he didn't look too great the first game. Well, these last 2 games, he's really made up for it. His season total right now, he's got 728 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. So, of course, interceptions are a problem with him, but I kind of feel like at this rate, Josh Allen's just going to be kind of similar to Brett Favre, where Brett Favre was a gunslinger. And while he made some insane plays, he also made some really stupid interceptions. And that's what I just kind of feel like we're going to get overall from Josh Allen. And that doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback. As a matter of fact, I think he's an excellent quarterback. So, 4 interceptions, that sucks. The turnovers suck, but he can make some insane plays. And I kind of feel like the pros outweigh the cons in that regard. And so far, it's showing, because these last 2 weeks, the Bills really have stepped up and look really good. And they actually have the Miami Dolphins coming to town. So we'll see what they're really all about this week. Then at number 7 on my top 10 NFL power rankings, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Overall record of 2-1. They're also getting it done defensively, as they usually do. They have 11 sacks on the season. And then, of course, Lamar Jackson, he's not really lighting it up, but he is extremely accurate. He's making some really, really nice passes. He's made some good runs. He's doing what he's doing, and he just looks really good. It's just, This past week, they lost a tough one. It happens any given Sunday. Anything can happen. That's why you play the game. There's good guys on every single team in the NFL. So any team can win, and just they happen to fall short against the Colts. I will say they did get screwed over on a pass interference call that probably could have set them up in field goal position, and they might actually be 3-0 right now. But we don't live in should land, so they're 2-1. But even so, they still look pretty damn good to me. Then at number 8 on my top 10 NFL power rankings are the Detroit Lions. Overall record of 2-1. They also look really good defensively. They are just flying defensively. They have 8 sacks on the season. And then offensively, they're also flying. They have 9 total TDs on the season. Jared Goff still looks very efficient. And I still think they have a lot of growing to do. But I think that they're just going to keep getting better as the season rolls on. Then at number 9 on my top 10 NFL power rankings, a team I've been very surprised by, and that would be the Green Bay Packers. Overall record of 2-1. And it's just because we did not know what we were going to get from Jordan Love. I didn't really expect much from him. And so far, he is having an excellent season. He's got 655 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, and only 1 interception, which is the best stat right there. So he's come in real efficient. He's already had a fourth quarter comeback, and he's beat the Chicago Bears. So he's already beaten division rivals. He's looking pretty solid. I don't know if it's going to last all season, but so far the Packers look pretty good. Defensively, they have 9 sacks already. So defensively, they look really good. And I just think Jordan Love's actually utilizing all the weapons that he has. And so far, I think it's been a very nice season for Jordan Love. And then rounding out the top 10 NFL power rankings this week, I have the New Orleans Saints. Overall record of 2-1. Chris Olave, this guy is having a great season so far. He's got 302 yards receiving so far. No touchdowns, but he is in on all of their big plays. If you want to get down the field, you want over 40 yards, you pass to Chris Olave. The dude has been money so far. So I expect him to have even more big plays as the season rolls on. But defensively, man, they are looking really, really tough defensively. They are just making it so difficult for any team to just get by on them. And they're ball hawks as well. They've already got 4 interceptions on the season. And the New Orleans Saints, while they're not getting it done offensively as you would think, they're still a pretty good team, and defensively, I really like what I see from them. And then moving on to Thursday Night Football. This week we have the Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. Right now, Detroit is a 2.5-point favorite, and I expect this game to be a battle. I mean, usually Detroit, Green Bay, especially these last couple of seasons, has been a battle. I mean, it really is, usually is, just because it's a division matchup. So no matter how bad either team is, it's still usually a good matchup. And I'm expecting it from this one just because, like I said, with Jordan Love, it's been extremely surprising. We did not know what we were going to get from him. But really, if you look at the Packers' overall roster, he does have a lot of weapons at his disposal, even though in the last game, Aaron Jones was out. Aaron Jones is one of the best running backs in the game. And they're expected to get him back this week. So that'll be good. But these also got Dobbs on, as a receiver, Watson, they've got some, really good guys. And then of course, defensively, I think, the Packers are pretty underrated defensively. I don't think a lot of people realize how good they are on the defensive side of the ball. Detroit, on the other hand, like I said, I feel like they continue to get better as every single week. Defensively, they also are just they're monsters. Like on the defensive line, actually, both their offensive and defensive lines are just really stout. But often on the defensive side of things, like they just are really fast and ferocious, is what I would say. And then they also are ball hawks in the secondary. So I do think this is going to be typical Detroit Green Bay game where it's going to be smash mouth football. But I do think Detroit's going to get the better of Green Bay in this one, 28-23. I kind of feel like this is going to be not necessarily a come down to earth game for the Packers, but I kind of have a feeling that we're going to see Jordan Love falter a little bit in this one. Maybe he'll throw for a bad interception towards the end of the game at the drive on a game-ending drive, something like that. But I just feel like Detroit is starting to click on all cylinders, starting to get it going, especially defensively. I really like what I see from them. And then just offensively, they're starting to get, Goff's starting to find the rookie tight end, Laporta. And he's actually right up there in the top 15 receivers so far on the season. So that actually says a lot for a rookie tight end. So I just kind of feel like Detroit, I feel like is just going to get the better of the Green Bay Packers in this one. And I've got Detroit winning this game 28-23. All right, now let's turn over to the college game, and the AP Top 10 for this week actually hasn't changed a whole lot, and we do have a couple big games this week, and then we had some good games last week as well. So let's just start off with, of course, Georgia remains number one. They should remain number one. They're 4-0. They beat UAB last week, 49-21, and they will be at Auburn this week, who's not ranked. So it's not like it's typical Auburn. I expect Georgia to roll as usual. Then at number two remains Michigan, of course, because they're also 4-0. They just stomped Rutgers 31-7 over the weekend, and they will be at Nebraska. So I kind of expect Georgia and Michigan to maintain their dominance where they're at. But I'm also happy to see number three, because hook 'em horns, motherfucker. The Texas Longhorns remain at number 3, which is just so awesome to me. I just can't believe we're here. We are in line for the college football playoff for once, but we shouldn't be talking about that because we still have a long season to go. But we did stomp Baylor into the ground last weekend, 38-6, so that was fun. And they have 24 ranked Kansas this week. So hopefully they're not overlooking Kansas, but I think we should walk away with that win. Just the way we're playing, especially on the offensive, defensive too. I really like what I'm seeing from the Longhorns, both offensively and defensively. So very, very happy to be a Longhorns fan right now, and very happy to see us ranked all the way up at number 3. It feels great. Then at number 4, we have Ohio State, who still remains undefeated at 4-0. They had a huge game against Notre Dame over the weekend. They just got the win 17-14. It was a battle between those two teams. And Ohio State was literally just able to take the win with the last seconds remaining on the clock. Notre Dame, it looked like they were just going to hold out, and Ohio State was just able to make the last two big plays to win it 17-14 and to remain undefeated, and they shot up a couple spots to number 4. Then at number 5, we have Florida State. They are still undefeated, but they did play a tough game against Clemson. Actually, Clemson really, they had to lead a few times in this game, but Florida State started to pull away in the second half, and they got the win 31-24, and they play Virginia Tech over the weekend. Then at number 6, Penn State, another team that is just rolling. They are still undefeated as well. They trucked over Iowa 31-0, and they will be at Northwestern this weekend. Then at number 7, we have Washington, who is also still undefeated. They stomped Cal over the weekend 59-32, and they will be at Arizona this weekend. And then at number 8, we have USC, who's still undefeated as well. They just took out Arizona State 42-28, and they will be going to Colorado to see Deion Sanders over the weekend. So it should be a fun game. I feel like it's going to be, I'll get to, actually I might as well get to Colorado now, because number 9 is Oregon, who just stomped Colorado this week. I mean, I wasn't too surprised. Just because, Colorado's really overachieving right now. And Oregon, they've they've been a really good team for like at least 10 years now. I mean, they've been a competitive team who's been in and out of national championships and in the college football playoff. Like they've built up a really deep recruitment, and they're just a legit team. So I'm not surprised that Colorado got stomped. I mean, I believe Oregon was a 3-touchdown favorite. So, I mean, even Vegas was like, y'all need to calm down. Now, we all, at least I love what Deion's doing with Colorado, but they had their come back down to earth moment where they got stomped 42-6. I mean, it was bad, and Oregon owned them at every stage of the game, from offense to defense. I mean, Shedeur Sanders looked very ineffective in this game. Now, it wasn't all his fault that the line wasn't blocking shit, but it was a bad game. But, they're just going to get right back up, and they've got USC coming to town this week. Now, I do think it's going to be a little bit different game. I expect USC to win just because USC's similar to Oregon. They've been good for many years. They've built up a strong college recruiting team, and they've got Caleb Williams, who is the best quarterback, at least in my opinion, in college football right now. Shedeur Sanders, excellent quarterback as well, but if I have to pick between the two, I'm taking Caleb Williams. He is a prototypical quarterback. If you want to know what a legit quarterback looks like, Caleb Williams is it. Whoever is getting Caleb Williams as their quarterback in the NFL, you're getting the future of the league right there. But anyways, so I do expect USC to beat Colorado, but I don't expect it to be an ass whooping like it was against Oregon. I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but I think USC will start to pull away in the second half, and I do think they're going to get the win, but it's not going to be as bad as last week. And then rounding out the AP Top 10 this week, we have Utah creeping up into the fold. They are also still undefeated. They got a close win over UCLA this weekend, 14-7, and they will be traveling to number 19, Oregon State, this weekend. And last bit of breaking news today, actually, was Damian Lillard has finally been traded from the Portland Trail Blazers, and I like where he went. He has been officially traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. So he is teaming up with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I think this is a great move for not only the organization, but I think it's a great move for Dame because, Dame has been loyal to Portland, and he's been a great player while he's been there. I mean, he's had some historic nights. He's dropped so many points, but he just hasn't been given the opportunity in the postseason because he plays in Portland. So lucky for him, he's going to Milwaukee, who has Giannis, an MVP, who a team that is only a couple years removed from winning the NBA Finals. So they have a legit squad, and so he's going to a good team, and I think him and Giannis are going to work very, very well together. And this just makes the Eastern Conference even more interesting because it just puts another superstar over there. And so now it's like, whoa, who has a shot at winning it all next year? Because, you've got Boston, you've got the Miami Heat, you've got the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's just, you just keep looking throughout the league and it's like, whoa. And then you got the 76ers who have a good roster, but what's going to happen there? So Dame going to the Milwaukee Bucks, I think, is a game changer for the entire Eastern Conference. It's a game changer for the Milwaukee Bucks and also for Dame Lillard as well. I think we will finally get to see Dame in the playoffs this year, and hopefully we'll get to see what he's all about. Hopefully we'll get to see him take over some games, but regardless, we're going to be seeing him in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I think that is a beautiful match made in heaven right there. I mean, how are you going to cover those two motherfuckers? And the trade, it also included Drew Holiday, who's been a huge piece for the Milwaukee Bucks, but I'm sorry, you asked me if who do I want, Dame or Drew Holiday? Dame Lillard times a million every single time. So, of course, that's an upgrade for them right there. But Drew Holiday, he got traded to the Blazers, and then this ended up being a 3-team trade deal, and it included the Phoenix Suns, who ended up sending DeAndre Ayton up to the Portland Trail Blazers as well. So the Blazers did get a couple of good players, but they lost Dame in the process. But good for Dame Lillard. So hopefully this season he actually gets a shot at the playoffs. Now, him and Giannis are both injury-prone players, so that could be a problem. But I mean, really, at this rate, that's just kind of how it is in the league, anyways. With a lot of players, Anthony Davis, looking at you, dude. Zion Williamson, looking at you, dude. And quite frankly, I can name off even more guys. So, but I do think this is a good match. And like I said, I think it shakes up the Eastern Conference a lot. And it's going to be interesting to see what Dame and Giannis got. I'm looking forward to that duo right there. And who knows what else they got. I mean, like I said, we've got a couple of weeks and basketball kicks off. So we're probably going to get some more news, but it's nice that we finally had Dame traded because I was really sick and tired of hearing, the trade, he's going to get traded here, he's going to get traded there. I think it was either yesterday or the day before, I saw an update. I was like, could you just trade him already? The season's already around the corner. Could we just stop talking about it and do it? And finally it happened, and I really like where he went. And I think it's a good fit for all parties. So congrats to you, Dame, and hopefully we'll be seeing you do your thing this season. All right, y'all. Enjoy the rest of the week of sports, and I will talk to you fools on Friday.